This is the beginning of my setup. Anybody tell me what's wrong with my setup? Right, I can only see up right to where her elbow is. So tell me what to do. Move it over. So I do this, and then I'm working towards the ideal. And Brian, you may have to move the tripod back, I don't know. But the ideal is that I get some kind of situation where if I stand at arm's length, I can see both what I'm drawing and where I'm drawing. So I can see my surface and I can see the model. Anybody that's been in class this long would know the kind of paper that I prefer you use. And it's really not just me and my preferences, it's actually just better for you. Is this newsprint. So are you catching all this too? Okay, good. Okay. All right. And you know, this morning I don't feel like dealing with the bounce that happens from the pad. Boy, some of these pads just rip out real nice and some of them are difficult. Anyway, I don't like the bounce as much. I like a little bit of bounce. In other words, a little bit of paper behind. I've got about 5 sheets in here. And I've just clamped that on there. It's interesting, you can get away with a lot, but why would you bother if you have the right tools? So if you have the right tools, you have Vine charcoal. Okay. And we got this. Charcoal is going to work. Oh yeah, that's nice and soft. Okay, so what do you want to do? Yeah. Oops.
I brought it in the middle, so just in case.
And it's a little cool in here this morning, so I get the added challenge of drawing, bulky clothing, which I don't want you to change out of it.
It looks really nice though when you draw it.
Huh?
I said, oh, look very nice when you draw it.
Yeah, see? All right, now, I've got a certain kind of pose, certain kind of thing. I start by drawing in the air over top of the model. I always do that. I've been doing this for, I don't want to tell you how long. But I still have this habit of what I was taught when I was a freshman, to draw in the air over top. Why? A lot of reasons that this is good is that if you'll notice, I'm using my whole arm to draw because the model, Naja, is, larger than my paper. So I'm drawing in the air. Who wants to time me? Jamie, can you time me? I feel it's Monday morning. I feel a little wimpy, so give me 15 seconds to get the whole thing in. As far as finding it, just finding it. Okay. All right, 15 seconds. Boy, that seems like a long time.
It was done. We just now.
Oh, okay. That was 15 seconds. This is a scribbly mess. That's pretty much what you expect at this point. But it's a scribbly mess that is giving me all kinds of hints and cool things to look for. And I actually can relax because I've already addressed everything. The only thing, and I got this corner of the easel is in my way, so I'm going to move it out. Can you still see everything, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so all I had to do, and I kept my feet in the same place. That's the important thing. All I had to do was move the easel a little bit so that I could see the back of the chair. I always want to call this chair a rocking chair. Whoops. Oh, look, he made his first mistake. The chair, I put it up too high. It's actually here. Okay, which is fine. If I needed to, I can wipe this off and make it lighter. And then what happens is all these marks end up just being like a haze that I have here. Another thing that I'm working on practicing right now, is that no matter what I'm drawing, I never lift my charcoal off the page. The reason is because I'm using my charcoal to explore. I am not deciding anything. As a matter of fact, I'm working hard not to decide things. I don't know when I got to the point where I could actually talk and do this at the same time. Probably because I've been blabbing for too long, and it's like second nature now. One thing, values that I may be demonstrating but not saying, is that I am trying to move back and forth through the figure. I'm not staying on one area. And I just try to note little things, whatever those things might be, that are going to be the next thing that I see in that area. Let's take it. Oops. Oh, did you see that? That just fell out of my hand. That's another value that I place on this, is that I am actually relaxed, really relaxed. Okay? To the point where the charcoal is barely in my hands. And this way, I'm not tensing up and therefore drawing rigid lines and stuff like that. Just saying that made me think of rigid lines to draw. Oh dear, stop, Jeff. Okay. Oh, hand was in the wrong place. Move it over a little bit. No big deal. I've got this little bit of a finger happening over here, so.
Sorry.
You're all right. This is our, by the way, for the people that are at remote, this is our intrepid, valiant model, Naja Robinson, who actually comes out in the cold to do this. So, you know, now I'm beginning to settle down to the point where I could, you know, firm up. I could firm up, if I wanted to, a contour or two. So I'm combining right now the notions in contour where my pencil, my charcoal is touching the surfaces with the gesture. I'm using the fact that I found the positions of everything early with the gesture. One other thing I want to make sure to mention is that when I draw a gesture of a person who is sitting in a chair, the chair has to become part of that body. It actually, I think of it as being like legs of the person, an extension of the person. How long am I into it? Does anybody know?
The recording says 5 minutes.
Okay, that's working for me then. That includes me blabbing and fooling around. I didn't decide ahead of time how long this demo should be. How long should the demo be? Let's work it together. Oh, I just cracked my back. That really helps you relax. Seriously.
Yeah.
One thing I'm going to ask, with the way I'm drawing, do I end up having to move my head a lot?
No.
And there we are. Someday these drawings will seem so strange because of the masks, you know? It'd be really easy to get into portraiture right now because you don't have to draw most of the face. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I didn't make a big deal out of this at the beginning, and I just kind of did it without thinking. One of the things that is a big value is that you fill the page and fit it on the page, and I am almost not really fitting it on the page. Let me tell you something. If you come this close, you're doing it, okay? That's power, first thing, first drawing Monday morning, right? So some of you guys will tell me, you know, one of the reasons that you're having difficulty is that you get in here and Waylon's roaming around the room and making you nervous and stuff like that. Is that true? Good. Okay. If you practice, this is like a musician. You know, musicians, the best performances. They'll tell you, the guy or a lady will close their eyes because they know their instrument well. I can't close my eyes to do this. Right? That would be weird. I never thought of that. Somewhere later in the semester we do memory drawing. And I just wondered, could you do a memory drawing with your eyes closed? Memory drawing was, we set this up, takes the pose, and then she gets off, and then you draw what you think you saw. What you remember, you know? And we're getting somewhere. So now, you know, I could even wipe off again. Nice charcoaly hand, right? I like what I've got up there, so I'm not going to wipe that off. I could wipe off again and come back in here and decide that contour, for instance. And I chose that because it's where the underside of one of the arm is impressing down onto the arm of the chair. And so it's going to be a strong line no matter what happens later. What's the other value of wiping things off like that?
Helps you see what you're doing a little bit better.
Definitely helps that. The other thing it does is it teaches you this. It's not precious. This is not some kind of masterpiece, you know, Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel. This is you know, a study. These aren't, I like to think of these not as drawings, but as studies. And they will have more or less of accuracy to them, and maybe some kind of coolness to them. See, now I'm just picking. All right, back down to this hand. It's there. It's been there the whole time. What can I do with it? This is, you know, a luxury. How long am I into this drawing? How long's the video?
Just past 10 minutes.
Okay. I think a 10-minute video would be a good amount, right? You guys think that's true? Because my videos tend to be too long.
Let me go ahead and
Anybody that's got me in film will agree, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know what I think I should advise everybody that has to watch those, if you're not there or you missed the class on art history or whatever, don't watch it all at once. Isn't that weird? Because if you were there, it would be different, right? If you were in the class.
Yeah.
And the reason is because the potential for getting asked questions is real, whereas you're watching the video and you know you're not going to be asked a question. That's interesting.
But also, since you're there, you can also ask some questions yourself.
Yeah. And I'm sure somebody has a question for me, right? Oh yeah, you know, sooner or later we start doing this stuff too.
Shading.
You know, and this has got to do with mass. You do not shade without taking into account mass. And we'll talk about that. When we say mass, what we say, we don't want to draw things that get in the way of understanding the structure. All right, I think, does that kind of just, so I could keep going here and turn this into a long study if I want to, as long as Nasha wants to sit, right? Because, you know, eventually you get into projects like Mr. Stiles down the hall has got this really cool painting. Have you guys seen it? Oh my gosh, you got to go into room 104, the sculpture studio down the hall, and you got to see Mr. Stiles' painting of all the blues musicians and Black Jesus. It's the Last Supper with blues musicians. It's like pretty cool, very cool. It's for a club down in Mississippi, right? Yeah, Mississippi. All right. I think that's a wrap. You can see this. Turn straight at it. You got the whole thing in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And it shows up. You can see it.
Yeah.
Good. All right, cut.